We are providing only 20% video as a part of promotion. For remaining 80%, that is 6 to 8 articles, current affairs video and general studies complete videos, please subscribe to our complete package. 1. From the embrace of Lahore to the siege in Pathankot, India and Pakistan in 2016. What might be the India's stand over terror attack? What is the way forward for government's vision of peace with Pakistan? GS Paper 2, India and Neighborhood Relations. 2. Will 2015 mark an end of oil era? Which are the forces that are urging for the decline of oil era, after the long innings of 150 years? GS Paper 2, Conservation, Clean Energy Technology. Why recently in news? While Mr. Modi's Lahore landing was certainly bold, it has not yet proven to be the game changer that perhaps he too hoped it would be. Instead, the same kind of terrorist attack that has always accompanied India-Pakistan engagement hit Pathankot. As with similar attacks in the past, it should not surprise anyone if the terrorists came from Pakistan and belonged to an anti-India group, the Pakistani army. By not calling off talks immediately after the attack, the Modi government seems to have indicated it will not allow these groups the satisfaction of achieving those aims. What might be the India's stand over terror attack? If India could have waged a war against Pakistan-biased terror groups such as Lashkar-e-Toiba, by this time it would have been uprooted completely. India's worries in doing so are that it would have affected the peace dialogue between India and Pakistan forever. The other major fear is that, what if all major terror groups in Pakistan unitedly continue attacks on India to ensure their existence? The government hasn't called off the talks immediately after the attack, indicating that it will continue in the Pakistan dialogue process. India believes that to sustain dialogue is the only fitting answer to terrorist groups and to their handlers inside the Pakistan establishment who wish to destabilize the peace process. What is the way forward for government's vision of peace with Pakistan? The talks process must be further insulated from the denial of these forces. First, the foreign secretaries must move quickly to set up a timetable of meetings of all the secretaries in the two countries involved in the comprehensive dialogue. The process will receive momentum if India and Pakistan agree to a resolution on confidence-building measures on the line of control, water issues and the Sir Creek dispute. Then only both India and Pakistan can fight against largest for both of them, that is terrorism. India must stay the course it has set in the past month for promoting engagement. 2. Will 2015 mark an end of oil era? Which are the forces that are urging for the decline of oil era, after the long innings of 150 years? GS Paper 2, Conservation, Clean Energy Technology. Will 2015 mark an end of oil era? 2015 might well be seen as the year the oil era entered the phase of terminal decline. For during this period, there was a convergence of action and sentiment against oil products and oil companies. The Paris Summit on Climate Change heralded a multinational effort to shift the global energy system away from fossil fuels. The props on which petroleum companies have built their vast businesses eroded if not fell away. Clean energy products and technology made their way to the forefront of the policy agenda. and public sentiment called for a weakening of the nexus between economic development and carbon-intensive energy demand, which are the forces that are urging for the decline of oil year after the long innings of 150 years. The first is the global consensus that oil, along with coal, is responsible for climate change. The second is the shaky state of the petroleum industry business model. On the supply side, there is now no easy oil left to discover, and the marginal cost of incremental barrels is increasingly higher. The lead times are stretching into decades, and the operating context is subject to tightening regulations. On the demand side, the conversation is all about peak demand. Oil prices look as if they are on a secular downward curve. Most experts expect prices to rise from current levels, but they believe this rise will be modest. This is because the market is flush and demand is structurally depressed. The third is clean energy technology. Tesla's electric vehicle is in abundant evidence on the roads. The world's best scientists are in Stanford, Berkeley, and Silicon Valley, and they are working hard to find the missing links required for commercializing and scaling up solar and wind energy, and alternatives to diesel and gasoline as transportation fuels. Clean energy discussion is now on the agenda at every international meet, and most leaders today see the import of this subject. Final and fourth is public sentiment. The anti-fossil fuel lobby is no longer limited to environmental activists. As people choke on the smog of air pollution, public opinion is looking to hold the fossil fuel industry accountable for environmental damage. A number of lawsuits have been filed against oil and coal companies. None have been upheld so far, but the signals are clear. It is but a matter of time before these companies face the legal and reputational pressures that the tobacco companies had to deal with years back. Conclusion: these above forces will not end the oil era completely. However, it may remain a part of 21st century. But it will diminish in significance, and we may need to develop a different vocabulary to describe the reconfigured energy system.